The Magnificent Ambersons is a film terrified of technology, especially of the automobile. So I decided to film this review, this rant, in an abandoned, I believe, steakhouse, grill, bar, some Floridian behemoth that used to be full of so many different kinds of people, next to a highway. In fact, I want to battle the automobile during my review. I would love if my review was drowned out by the automobile. I believe that would make it that much more perfect. I'm your cult boyfriend. I love The Magnificent Ambersons. I think it's an incredible film. What's truly riveting about the film itself is that, I think in Truffaut's own words, it's a mutilated masterpiece. RKO completely butchered the film, while Orson Welles was off in Brazil, making It Was All True, or just fucking off, really, on his next obsessive project. While he was gone, RKO completely mutilated The Magnificent Ambersons, most unforgivably destroying a lot of the party sequence and a great deal of, a lot of it feels truncated and odd. The rhythm doesn't exactly make sense. The ending is also lazily, irredeemably just added on to be more sentimental and mystical than pessimistic and knowing, as Orson's original ending was. But part of what makes it so riveting is that The Magnificent Ambersons, at its heart, is about a world being darkened by industry, by the automobile, by technology. It's a film that is obsessed with a deadly and deathly nostalgia. It's about a vanishing age, an age that doesn't exist anymore, an age that maybe never was and just exists in our idealized, idolized versions, nostalgia of the past. And The Magnificent Ambersons itself, as a Wellesian film, is also something that both does exist and doesn't exist. Schrodinger's cat, the fucking movie. It's both mutilated and intact, or the fact that it's mutilated makes it beautiful. It is beautiful in its agony. The fact that it is incomplete. The fact that the characters themselves are incomplete. It's kind of incredible, right? That everything is changing and nothing can be repaired. The film itself is reflective of its own composition, or lack thereof, or something to that effect. But the world is changing. Nostalgia means death, sentimentality. That's the only way we can view it. The first 9 minutes of Orson Welles' film feels both immediate, it feels futuristic, and then it also feels completely antiquated, using styles of Griffith all throughout the film to make it feel like part of a bygone age, of the silent era, that these people are relics allocated to some kind of foggy past, some subterranean collective American memory. It's about how predestination, truly how a fatalistic or a pessimistic predestination seems to accompany all forms of destiny. And that destiny in the face of technology is not destiny, but the extinction of beauty and luxury, of a very specific sort of lifestyle that once existed, of the Ambersons and their magnificence. Tim Holt is wonderful in the film as George Milliford Amberson. Such a great performance. Incredible performances all around. Joseph Cotten I think has the most mysterious and charismatic performance of the film. It's very difficult to gauge where his character is, but there's a great deal of sympathy and pathos from him. Agnes Moorehead as Aunt Fanny. Now that's the scene stealer. Her at the end saying like, "I don't care if it burns me. I want it to burn me." It's so full of pathos that it's petrifying in its delivery. It's incredible that way. Magnificent Ambersons is such a brilliant movie. I can't get it out of my head. I'm completely attached to it. I've long been attached to this movie. It's one of those mystified, up there with Stroheim's Greed, which I also love. One of those great myths of movie making is the lost Wells version, which is completely irretrievable. There's no sense in even hoping, but there's the dream of it still. And that plays into Ambersons as well. We can never get back to that kind of beauty and luxury, or that very specific kind of social status, but we can dream of it, like Orson Welles does, and as he narrates through this incredibly smooth and baritone and the kind of cynical, sarcastic, but deeply moving delivery of his voiceover. But we can never go back to it. It's an impossibility. You can never have... You're in love with something that is unfinished, something that will always be broken, mutilated. Something mythic, but also something that was born of mythos to be mythology. Something that is collectively, with all of us, through nostalgia, mystified and mystifying. Orson Welles is an incredibly great filmmaker, and The Magnificent Ambersons is an incredible film. Oh man, I would love to have that. I mean, sometimes I still dream of what The Magnificent Ambersons could have looked like. It's one of those first movie what-ifs and could-have-beens that I really found myself infatuated by. No one knows what The Magnificent Ambersons could have really been, except for those who made it. And that one test audience who hated it. Because it came out also right around the time that Pearl Harbor happened. Nobody wanted to see the dehumanization of classic American wealth and luxury, of prestige and hierarchy. No one wanted to see that dismantled, or no one wanted to see Georgie get his comeuppance. Honestly. No one wanted to see that. And no one ever did. Or that's really where the film ends, with Georgie at his bed and Orson's narration going, like, he's praying for forgiveness for his mother and from God. And Orson says, this is the time that Georgie got his comeuppance, but everybody who wanted it wasn't there to see it, nor did they know about it, and everyone else just forgot they even wanted it. And thus is the legacy of The Magnificent Ambersons. It's a great film. It's a phenomenal film. It's difficult watching it because you have to get your heart broken all over again, thinking of what could have been. If it was intact, if it was complete, I already like it more than Citizen Kane. There's a lot more depth. And the tone is so much more sophisticated than Citizen Kane was. The tone of The Magnificent Ambersons is probably the most impressive thing about it. Its personality, its character as a film is everlasting, and no one has been able to duplicate it, especially not like Wes Anderson's Royal Tenenbaums, which is quite a lot like The Magnificent Ambersons, now that I think about it. Magnificent Ambersons is poetic, it's startling, and it's moody, but it's also cheerful in the way that everything falls apart. Its debris is comforting. Even its actual debris, meaning how torn apart the entire film was. But I've been your cult boyfriend here in front of a dilapidated, run down, I guess it used to be a bar or a steakhouse. The sky is darkened, the city just keeps unfolding, and we become more and more and less than. The past doesn't come with ellipses and fade outs or the past isn't in deep focus. Nostalgia is deadly, but hey, it's also beautiful.